Hello, this is RCKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, today I'm bringing another side-by-side comparison, and it is the Nexus 5 versus the Note 3. These are the two latest and greatest phones to come out this year, and definitely the ones that have the most attention right now on Android. So, will it be the best bang for your buck, or the highest end with the highest specs that you go for? Let's see which one is the right device for you. Now, when it comes to the look and feel of these devices, they are similar in terms of the hardware they use, but very different in terms of look and style. With the front, definitely we can easily see the fact of touchscreen buttons versus physical and touch sensitivity buttons on the bottom. So right from the get-go, a little bit different, but the main thing is of course the backing and the size. With the Nexus, you have a plastic backing, which is a matte finish. Really nice, but I do like the black more, at least that's for me. I wish that they had either made this white and not gray as they had. It just would have been a better look to me. I do like the color accent ring, but again, I wish it would have been white instead, just to go a little bit more with the device. I don't like the black on white look that it gives. But it is definitely very sleek and very simple. And that's the main thing to say about the Nexus look and feel. With the Note, it was made to be the more premium style device with the really nice leather-like backing, or folio leather, or whatever you want to call it, leather backing, but really it feels really nice. Even if it's plastic partially or however it is, it feels really good in the hand, very good to grip. Can't get fingerprints on this one either, but it just has a better texture so that it won't slide very easily and just fits perfectly in the hand. Now, however, of course, there's a huge size difference. This can be rectified by the one-handed mode that you can obviously use, but other than that, it is going to be a turn off for some people. Overall, just holding both phones in the hand, though, I think most people would agree that for feel-wise, definitely, and again, just a little bit of a different look, it would go to the Note 3 overall. Although the Nexus 5, I wish it just would have taken a little bit more. Even the Nexus 4, I think, took a bigger step in look and feel than this one did. Now, when it comes to web browsing, the first thing we look at is the screens. So first and foremost, 5-inch screen versus 5.7, both 1080p displays, but that does mean that this has a better pixels per inch at 445 by, against 386. Of course, this does have a better pixels per inch, but everything over 350 is pretty well off. You do have an LCD versus LED, or Super AMOLED rather, which means that this one will be better whites generally and also brighter in sunlight. This one will have better colors as well as true black. And finally, you're going to have better battery life with this. Now, when comparing both of these, let's actually see how they are in web browsing and try it out. These both are connected to the same internet, so hopefully they'll do fairly well. And right now we're just seeing how quick each of them go. This is a very heavy website. The reason why I do a very heavy website is, again, to test out all in all which one will be faster, because again, this is a very heavy website. Normally your websites will generally be very quick at loading. And both are just loading everything up. Hey look, the S3 is now free. Advertisements. Its Wi-Fi is fairly slow, so it's still loading a little bit on both. Let's just kind of see how both respond. So both are moving pretty well. Oops. Thank you, Google now. So we can see that. Let's try double tap. Both are still loading fairly well, even though the web page isn't fully loaded. And pinch to zoom is doing very well on both too. Sorry for the slow internet on this, but one important thing to note is with the Note you do have an advantage of being able to actually hover over and use this like a mouse, as well as by having a different browser you have the ability to actually have a split screen, so you can have two browsers up at the same time. Very useful trick and really comes in handy at times. So for this reason, I will give the Note 3 the better overall experience for web browsing. Now when it comes to sound quality, placement is pretty much identical for these two devices. Both have their speakers right here on the bottom, one's on the left side, one's on the right side, but they both have one speaker. So let's see which one is the better sound. We're going to start off with the Nexus, then go to the Note, the Nexus, and Note.
The curtain goes down, I remain the same, but all that money don't equal the price of fame. From LA to New York, Seattle to the Bay, West now I'm sleeping first class, got a bed in the clouds. Hit my pops to pick me up, and he said he was proud. King shit with a beanie on instead of a crown. Yeah, counting on my blessings. Shout out to the Most High. Started from the bottom, now I'm sitting at the Most High. Cheapsies to the business, now I'm literally.
So hopefully you can see on here that when it comes to these two, it really is just a better sound quality on the Note 3. Overall, this wasn't as big of a blowout as the S4, because the S4 has a better speaker than both of these, but the Note 3 just has a bit better quality when it comes to the Nexus 5. Now when it comes to watching movies from YouTube to Netflix to Hulu Plus and everything you could watch, there's obviously going to be a difference in how these two appear. For this one, the Note 3 is on adaptive display, whereas the Nexus 5 is just on normal. The reason I point that out is because right now the tones are more neutral. You can make them more vibrant though if they are on dynamic, so it's up to you in terms of color reproduction, but let's just play the videos as they are to see how they play out.
Galaxy Note 10.1 allows you and everyone in your family to have separate user profiles on the same tablet. It keeps you logged into your favorite apps, keeping your personal files personal. It knows what you care about most, so everything you love is right there when you turn it on. Now featuring over $600 in added value, including Samsung Hub and Google.
Again, the reason why I always do the Samsung video, just to get that out of the way from the people talking on the comments, is because that I know it won't get flagged. Now, where really is the difference here is simply the fact that you do have obviously a bigger screen. It really does make a difference when watching a movie for the most part. Not only that, but that split screen capability really does make it stand out, because of course you could be watching this video and while you're watching it you could be doing something else, such as like web browsing or anything else just on the side. So because of that, it obviously makes a big difference with these. So for video watching, I will give it to the Note 3. Now when it comes to the photo quality, you do have a 13 megapixel camera versus a 8 megapixel camera. So detail should be more predominantly better on the Note 3. One important thing to note with the Nexus 5 is you should never use just automatic, you should always use HDR+, which is a big difference in oversaturating and kind of washed out to better tones and better clarity. However, so when we go to here to try to zoom in around the same depth right here, you're just going to notice on the Note it has a little bit more that you can actually tell it's a menu, a bit better texture, and a bit more detail on the dots overall. It is letting a little bit more light through, whereas this kind of toned it down more. Overall, though, the macro will be slightly better on the Note 3. When it comes to low light, this is definitely where the Note typically shines. You definitely just get a bit of a clear picture on it, but not by much, as we can see on here, and then with, again, the HDR mode. So over here, this is darker tones, not as vibrant, not letting as much light through, and here it's letting a little bit too much light through. So it's washed out more so compared to this one. And when we go from across the street, this is going to be, of course, dramatically better in terms of the two. You can actually just see the signage, whereas you really can't see anything on the Nexus 5. Now, just to give an idea, this is with the auto night detection that the Note 3 has, and this is with just auto, so not as good by any means. And it's something that you should always do with the Note 3, auto night detection, with the Nexus 5 HDR+. Although in here it still didn't make up for it. Now, when it comes to low light without a flash, that again is just where the Note 3 is just doing a little bit of a better job in comparison with details, just showing a bit better, and also just letting a little bit more light through. When it comes to the flash, however, neither one is a prize when doing low light for it. The Note 3 has a really good low light with persons in it, but when just taking scenery, I just recommend not using the flash overall for either one. Just neither one does a very good job. Now, when actually doing a side-by-side of a person, we do have, so there was no light being let through in this scene. It was actually, just to give you an idea, it was very dark in this area, so this is how a normal photo would be like, very dark, and there was no light in this closet. But then we turned on both sections. So with this one, we have HDR plus versus auto night detection, which on here, we tend to see a little bit more detail in here and a little bit less noise on the Note 3. However, with the Nexus 5's night detection, or sorry, not night detection, but night scenic mode, it actually did a little bit better job than even the HDR Plus did and than the Note 3 did without any light whatsoever. A bit better detail, especially in the face. You could see just a sharper detail. So that was the best overall with this one. When it comes to video, easily there's just no comparison with when it comes to that. The Note just does take it because of its 1080p at 60 frames per second. It just stands out dramatically. So overall, for the photo taking quality, you are going to have a better experience on the Note 3 compared to the Nexus 5. Now, when it comes to gaming, this is where both devices really shine. You are going to have the best gaming quality on these two devices. There's just no doubt about it. You have an Adreno 330 graphics card and a processor of Snapdragon 800. The gaming experience is great on both of these. Both of these you can connect a PS3 controller directly to them with USB, and they just have a really great gaming experience. So both, I just can't say anything bad about. They're really great at gaming. Now, when it comes to battery life, this is going to be a huge difference between the two devices. Yes, the Note 3 just really has that much better of a battery. On here, we see about 8 hours longer, and honestly, that isn't an overestimate by any means. Although I would say for actual day-to-day usage, for the Note, you're easily going to, I've never not gotten a full day usage with the Note 3. The Nexus 5, I would say on average, runs me about 5 hours when actually using it. So generally wouldn't get me through a work day. Even if I kind of turn things off and on here and there and all that kind of stuff, I couldn't see it getting past 8 hours really for my day-to-day use. I'm a power user, but that's obviously one of the biggest disappointments for me with the Nexus 5. The Note 3 just really will get you all day battery life, and I never even put on power saving mode, which would probably get the average user easily a day and a half or more. So for battery life, you definitely are going to want to go with the Note 3. Now when it comes to the extras category, we really do have to give it to the Note 3 for obvious reasons. Nexus is made to be the perfect phone just by itself. No need to add anything, get any more accessories. It's very simple and great. For the Note 3, what makes it good is really all the extra bells and whistles, such as first and foremost just the hardware extras. You of course have the S Pen, which adds a lot of different functions and a lot of different features to the device. But other than that, you of course have just the basic hardware features of removable battery, add-on storage up to 64 gigs, as well as the fact that you do of course have the ability to have an IR blaster. So you can use TV. Although you have that ability kind of built into KitKat, you don't have an IR blaster built in on this device. So therefore the Note 3 just does take it in terms of extras. It just has more extras to offer. Now when it comes to price point, this is where the Nexus 5 easily shines. Simply for the fact that the reason why this device is so critically acclaimed right now, it's because it is the best bang for your buck. Now what does that mean? That means that you can get the 16 gig model for $349 or the 32 gig model for $399. Whereas on the Note 3 you are paying $724, $715 depending on the carrier for the full outright price. Even if you compare it to the Nexus 5, where it's going to be $449 on carriers, it still comes out to be far cheaper, $300 so. Meaning that if you were to buy the Nexus 5 outright, you can buy 2 Nexus 5s for the price of 1 Note 3. That's a huge difference. It really makes a big impact on most buyers' choices, and therefore you do have to take that into consideration. So let's tie them up and see who won. So when it comes to this devices, let's see who won. Look and feel goes to the Note 3, just a better overall look and feel. It just made a bigger departure from the last Note, comparing from the Nexus 4 to the Nexus 5. Really just a better look and feel overall. When it comes to web browsing, though both are really good at web browsing, you have to give the Note credit for the fact of having an S Pen, which allows it to have like a mouse kind of experience, as well as having the fact of split screen, so you can have 2 different web pages open at the same time, something that we have longed for outside of our computers. Music. Music was very close, but the Note 3 overall was the better for music playback, just a little bit louder on its sound quality. Movies will go to the Note 3 for obvious reasons. 1, the bigger screen. 2, the fact that you can watch YouTube video while doing something else such as web browsing or anything else that makes a huge difference. Camera quality overall on the Note 3 is better. Photos are fairly close, definitely not a blowout by any means. Both are decent cameras, but just especially on certain low light photos, it is going to go to the Note 3, especially when you take into account the far better video quality. When you go to gaming, these are the 2 best devices in gaming. I mean, you're not going to really have any kind of bad experience with either these devices or the G2, just because you have the best processors and graphics cards out there. When it comes to battery life, you are going to have a great battery life on the Note 3 that really just does last almost really double of the Nexus 5. When it comes to battery life, it's really just going to be dramatically better on the Note 3. When it comes to extras, it's going to go to the Note 3 again, just simply for the fact of you have a lot of hardware extras. That's really what makes the Samsung phone stand out, is more so its extras than necessarily software or other features. So for that purpose, the extras will go to the Note 3. When it comes to price point will easily go to the Nexus. You cannot state that enough, that you can buy 2 Nexus phones for the price of 1 Note 3. Obviously it's going to make a huge difference, because if you're buying for a family, then that means you can have, 2 Note 3s or 4 Nexus 5s. It's just really that big of a difference. So when we tie them all up, yes, the Note 3 does take it, but I really have to stress that the Nexus 5 is just an amazing device, and it really is the best bang for your buck. So if you really want, pretty much all the similar things to how the Note 3 is, but for half the price. The Nexus is not a bad deal whatsoever. And by all means, a lot of people do like the stock Google experience compared to the TouchWiz Samsung experience that the Note 3 gives you. So you have to take everything into account and then decide which one is best for you. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you found this video helpful. Please give it a like, thumbs up if you did. And if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching again. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.